I
Oh
like
yeah,
your
that's the
glasses there. Looking good, man.
Oh, thank you. I have to read
Yeah.
my notes.
Trying to look like
Because
me.
Yeah, so you got nice glasses there,
I
Waldo.
see what you're up to.
we're
Very
like a
nice.
we're like a 3 pack of Twinkies, right? With
Yeah,
with our spectacles,
Uh-huh.
right?
that's it. That's
There we
it.
go.
3 pack of twits.
Right. Twitties. Well, we should probably do this. Do this thing.
Yeah, what are we starting with?
Let's start with Siege of Power.
Okay,
Okay,
great.
Okay, let's ready to rock and roll.
let's go.
Hi, this is Mark Brady from Jag Panzer. You are watching and listening to Heavy Metal Horror, and I just repeated the exact bumper I was told to you. So give me an F for originality on this one. But definitely watch this. Very entertaining.
I am Montag, master of illusion. What goes up must come down, but not always.
This is Chop Top. Stay hard and heavy.
And Dreadbull. I'm gonna have to start going before you. I don't like following you.
I'm
It's always
gotta
a
just
let-
come up- why don't you
It's
come
always a
up with something-
letdown.
Yeah, come up with something cool to say. I know it's out of your nature to be cool. Just say something, man.
All right, I'll come up with something.
Come on the spot.
Right
You got
now?
it. Yeah.
No,
What's it?
I got nothing.
You can say like I'm Dreadbull, not the fucking slut, something like that. That'd be awesome.
I'm not the Slutmeister. I'm
I'm not the Slutmeister. That'd be great. Anyway,
Oh, wait.
as you're watching and listening to Heavy
heavy.
Metal Horror. Oh, kiddies, welcome back. Season 2. We're going to do a couple album reviews. That's right. First, we want to thank Kelli Martin at Metal Blade and Nikki Law from Breaking the Law Productions for sending these albums our way. We've been getting great albums from Metal Blade and from Century Media, and we're going to start doing more album reviews. And we got a special thing coming up, kiddies. We're going to start doing live album reviews, live reactions. So there you go.
Our very own reaction show.
I know. That's gonna be awesome. And we
I'm
want to
8
thank
years late to the party. But
all of you subscribers. Chop Top, do you know how many subscribers we have now?
Was it 141 last episode?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
We got a
that
bunch
jumped up
after
a
we
little
left the
bit
air.
too.
So Dreadbull will
What's
say
that
maybe
tell
we should
us?
just quit. Yeah, we
Yeah.
get more subscribers when we're off the air.
they like us better after we're gone.
That's right.
Just
Maybe
don't
they
like
thought
to
we
look
all
at our
died.
asses.
Like,
They'll
oh,
know
hey.
how much fun they were having. They'll know one day. Oh, we didn't
know.
watch Heavy Metal Horror when we could
We didn't
have.
appreciate them when they were all alive.
That Montag, he's funny, but looks on
Look at-
everything. That's
That
right.
Chop Top truly is a savant.
That's right. But not the good kind. And Dreadbull, we wish he had a personality. Wish he had a tagline. That would have been
Yeah,
that's
catchphrase.
fantastic.
Something.
Yeah, I wish he had a catchphrase.
I did too.
He's
Send in your
working on it,
taglines
folks.
for
Yeah,
me.
that's
Yeah.
right.
We'll have a contest.
Hashtag catchphrase
You'll
for
get a
Dreadbull.
sticker.
We're taking your requests now. So if you're a subscriber, send us an email.
Help me with a tagline.
That's
Won't
right.
you send your
I
taglines
suck.
in today?
Well, not sucking. We're gonna change gears here, kiddies. We are getting into a band called Siege of Power. The album is called This Is Tomorrow. And Siege of Power has it's like a super group of other death metal bands. It's members of Autopsy, Asphyx, and Exhale of Bullets. Great name. So you got some heavy duty hitters here. Who would like to go first and talking about the
Oh, we're not going to listen to these? I thought that was our thing. I thought we were going to listen to this.
Well,
I
no,
thought
we're-
this first one
set
we'd
up the
already
link,
listened to it.
so-
We were just going to do it. I didn't get permission.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see.
I haven't got this is from Metal Blade. I haven't got permission from Kelly.
Oh, I
And-
thought we
and-
I
but
thought
we-
we were good to go.
I didn't have it set up for that. I guess
Okay. No, no problem.
Well, hey, look.
When we talked about it, you said, yeah, that'd be great. We'll do it. And then, okay. So
Oh, listen to
we
it. Have you
haven't
not?
talked since then. But
Oh.
yeah, you're like, I could edit it
I
out
got
if
a,
we're not allowed to play it.
Oh,
Yeah,
that.
all that stuff.
Oh, have you not listened to either of these records? yet?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've listened to both.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've
Okay.
listened to everything. I got all my
I
notes
see.
and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah, I got
Just
notes
as I
on-
was listening and taking notes, I'm like, this would be great if we could listen to these and
I
do
know.
that as part of the
Yeah.
show.
We got notes. I
Well,
got notes for each
This
song,
is
guys.
this
so-
first one is Metal Blade. I don't have permission from Kelly yet. Can
Yeah,
you look
gotcha.
up Rotting Christ on see if it's available on Spotify?
I know let me see if part 2. I know I saw part 1.
That's all we're doing. That's the only
Yeah.
part we have.
I'll
So
just
yeah, because that's the one we got for free. So that's fine. Okay. Well, I guess what we can do is we can talk.
just
just
we can
do the-
just talk it out if you want
Yeah,
to do
'cause
it
I
that
got
way.
notes for each track for each album. So
Yeah,
I'm-
I just got a little bit of notes. Just not like our deep dives, but okay. Well, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, sorry, we'll have to edit that.
No,
You'll
no.
have to edit all
No,
that
no,
out.
I'm keeping it all. No,
But,
this is the season of no editing. No, no, it's fine. No, I may have misspoke, and I had totally forgot I had mentioned we could listen to it. But let's just start. We'll make that our next time. We'll do that as our special. Like we're gonna do a live reaction review, and we'll keep those listening moments for the live reviews.
okay.
Then,
Okay.
if we can, unless we're able to. But yeah, it'd be nice if we can play like snippets, even a snippet.
Yeah, it would be nice. So then the listeners and the viewers could actually know what the hell we're talking about when we're reviewing, the
Yeah,
tracks. So
would I have to just share audio if I'm going to share my screen?
yeah, I mean, we did it with. Remember, we did it with the
cover
covers,
stuff.
the cover songs.
Right.
So you'd probably just go to Spotify and then share your screen with audio and play it that way. I noticed though on Siege of Power, I don't think this whole album. There's only select tracks off of this album on Spotify.
Oh, okay.
Rotting Christ, that the Apocryphal Spells, both parts are up on Spotify, so that one shouldn't be a problem. But yeah, it looks like only like select tracks. Like Force Fed Fear is up on Spotify, the opening track. And then yeah, not much else actually off this album.
Can you see my screen? Oh, I gotta stop sharing. I gotta.
So yeah, we probably can't do Siege of Power, play it.
Yeah.
Play the tracks. Yeah, there's only one track off of there, off of the This Is Tomorrow album.
Okay.
There's a few tracks off of what's Warning Blast, their other album, I think. Or
Okay.
no, what's that? What is this album? Yeah, so unfortunately, until we get
Okay. Yeah, let's
permission
not do anything that's going to get us into trouble.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll just discuss the Siege of Power one then.
Yeah, that's fine.
And begin.
Ding, ding.
Ding.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, Chop. You said you had lots of notes.
Yeah. This is my overall view of the album, but I do have favorite tracks that I starred next to on my notes. I thought, it was there's kind of a lack of solos throughout, and it's that kind of about it. As a guitar player, I like to hear more solos, but it's
Quote
very
unquote
short.
guitar player.
Yeah, it's short and to the point. Sometimes, which is not such a bad thing, because in today's day and age, it's hard to keep people's attention and focus. I know I'm one of them myself. As I grow older, it's hard for me to hold my attention too long to anything.
Yeah,
we
feel the same about listening to you drone on.
You done yet?
Yeah, Dreadbull, you got any plans?
Yeah. Is it my turn?
Down, kids, they know not what they do, and this is for them. But the choruses at time, I think, are too redundant and repeated at times. But like Force Fed Fear, I really love the riff, the old school death metal.
Wait a minute, you doing the whole? You gonna get through the whole album right now, or I thought we were going track by track? We need to get on the same page before we start this shit.
Let's do an
let's go.
overview.
What the hell is going on?
We
I
don't
thought we were
know.
going to wrap it up at the end in a conclusion.
Well, should we do an overview then track by track, or just I mean,
Yeah.
I'm fine with track by track, but we
Yeah,
usually
I
start
would-
with an overview, our general impressions, and then we go.
I thought that's what you do at the end. You wrap it
Oh.
up with your general impressions of the album.
Oh, we've always done like a general, but that's fine. I don't
Always. So like, how many of these have we done?
I don't
What are you
know.
talking about? Always. What have we done? Like one?
I
One or
don't
two?
know. I'm fucking high. I don't know what I'm doing. What are
We're
you,
a real sorry bunch right
what are
here.
you looking at me?
Wow.
What are you looking
Well,
at
our
me for?
subscribers just
I'm
went
just-
down.
I'm
Hey,
just
we
making
hit
it.
record, then we'll figure it out.
I'm just
what we're
making
doing.
extra work for my editing. None of this is going to come out. Mark's a fucking genius. Okay, well, we can.
So what are we
can-
gonna do? We
Well, I
going
think
track
it's just
by
nice.
track?
Just a one sentence, like we can at
Okay.
least just
A
describe
little
the album.
a little overview. Okay, overview
Yeah, an
and then a
overview, then-
conclusion at the end.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fine.
it's gonna be the same thing though. What's the difference
All right,
between an
then.
overview and a conclusion? What's the diff? What are you gonna say that's any different?
I don't know.
You're gonna say the same damn thing.
All right.
right?
Well, then we don't have to
Am
do
I
that.
right?
Then just okay. We got chops. Then okay, Dreadbull. Why don't you start us off with our
We need
first
some
track?
cohesion.
So your
man.
overview.
Yeah,
Your-
Trop
your
Top was
overview,
taking the
man.
reins.
Right.
He was running ahead of the game. Look, a little bit at a time. You went. Now, did you want to talk about force-fed fear? We can all talk about that then. Chop, you were beginning to talk about force-fed fear when Dreadbull got all
Yeah,
whiny.
before I was rudely interrupted by my co-host. But anyways, Force Fed Fear. I love the riff, old school death metal. Maybe it sounds maybe from like came out of the '90s, which is a good thing. And it's got a good chorus, and I think it's a nice burner to kick things off for the album. So that's my impressions of Force Fed Fear.
Yeah, I love that intro hook. Immediately, I'm like, oh, because it sounds very modern. That kind of sound that we're really familiar with, that kind of melodic death metal. Then the vocals are way screamier than I thought they would be. Kind of that at the higher end of the death metal, not the low dirgy stuff, but the higher end screamy. But yeah, that's like a great opening song that really kicks you, makes you want to listen to more of it.
Yeah, it definitely punches you in the face.
Yeah, it's kind of got this punk thrash edge to it a little bit at times. I've noticed that in the album as a whole.
Yeah, me
But
too.
yeah, so yeah, great. And it's simple. It's nothing. They're not rewriting the book here. It's a simple melodic riffs and that are catchy. So
It felt like classic Slayer to me. Really, it had a Slayer vibe to it. That was a great opener. To grab you. Overall, the mix was solid. I thought the drums could be a little punchier. Like they just felt like they were a little meek in the background, a little too much.
look at you picking out the drums. Good for you, man.
Drums. I was just gonna say something. Yeah,
Look at
that's usually
you.
Montag. Yeah, we gotta listen to him go on and on and on about
About
drums.
those damn snare drum.
Is it snappy? Is it a wet?
I like the vocal. I like the style of the vocals. He's got great low range, and you can actually understand most of what he's saying, which is not, real common with the growly death metal stuff. So I appreciate his, enunciation of the lyrics. So yeah, I love the opener. Great song to get it started.
Excellent. Good, Chop. You had more to say?
Oh no, Raw Force Fed Fear. Good opening track, a burner. Like
Yeah.
everything you guys
Oh.
discussed, I felt the same way.
Yeah. All right. How about the next track, Sinister Christians?
There we go.
Okay.
My one note here, and one thing I really liked about this song, is that it reminded me a little bit of Rigor Mortis from their last album, not the last album, Slave to the Grave, the one before that, Versus the Earth.
Versus the Earth. Yeah.
Yeah, when Mike Scatia, that it was a very punky album in that regard, really fast, thrashy, simple thrash chords, and I got some of that vibe here on Sinister Christian, which I thought, okay, that's fun. I mean, they're not trying to rip off Rigor Mortis, but there's definitely that influence. I think that sound is a little bit in here.
Well, it's interesting you say that because I have my notes. Opening riff, main riff is very punk-like, mixed with the death metal vocals, of course. I like the slowed down part bits as well, which I'll get to in later songs. I actually think this band shines when they do slower stuff, but that's just me. Of course, being the doomhead that I am. It's kind of derivative sounding, and I think that goes back to the rigor mortis that you were talking about, Montag. And then, it's kind of basic to me. Was one of my favorites on there, but I do hear the influences from like the rigor mortis stuff and the punk like kind of riffs coming in there. And I think this song really starts to show that. And it goes throughout the album too. You have those splashes in there of it, but yeah, decent.
Yeah, the upbeats. I like this song. So, some good religious hate stuff here, so that's always fun. I thought the upbeat sections to me reminded me of Motorhead for some reason. Like I don't know. Kept getting Motorhead vibes when I was listening to this.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
I don't know if
That's
that's
nice.
intentional or not.
I know. I
Um,
agree. I totally agree. I
do
hear
ya?
it too.
Okay.
Yeah. And well, we'll talk later on. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked there's some nice time changes, some nice transitions, and they do that a lot throughout this album. We'll get into it more, but I, I like the flow of their songs. I never get bored. There's never a, too much of just one beat droning on and on. So they always keep it really interesting. So I appreciate that. And yeah, great song.
Okay. We're on to what Scavengers next, right?
Scavengers. Yeah.
Um,
Go ahead,
go
Chop.
ahead. Well,
Oh,
I was just going to say, I really like the thundering, almost Amon Amarth main riff. It definitely is their most Amon Amarth sounding
Mm,
song, which is not a bad thing. But I caught that right away with that riff. I'm like, wow, this is Amon Amarth, kind of, with that riff and stuff, that style of Viking metal. So I really appreciated it. And yeah, it's a decent song just because, if for anything, for me, being an Amon Amarth fan, I really like that band a lot. It just
yeah,
was very derivative of that. And that was really cool.
yeah. That galloping riff is
Mhm.
awesome. It
Dung,
really,
dung,
it really
dung, dung,
grabs you.
dung, dung, dung.
Mhm.
I mean, we've been Maiden fans for 40 some years, so
Sure.
we were pulled to that galloping. That
Mhm.
Maiden, I think, became master of, and that just pulls you right in. And yeah, this is that Doom version of that galloping. Dung, 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 dung. It's like a mid-tempo gallop, and this was not my favorite track. It got a little just kind of monotonous in that way, but it's nice to have. I'm glad that they could show so many tempos and styles within within the album. So
Yeah, I like their
so
diversity.
mhm, mhm.
It's not just straight brutal death all the time.
Right,
They're
because that gets tiresome.
showing some range. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
This song. So I always, when I listen to new bands, I always I end up getting like little vibes from different bands that I'm familiar with. And this one, for whatever reason, I kept getting Grip Inc. vibes.
Mm.
And I don't know if it was that groove of that, that galloping sort of cool groove. And I think uh the cleaner vocals kind of reminded me of Gus Chambers from Grip Inc. So yeah, for whatever reason, this song gave me
Okay.
some Grip Inc. vibes. And
Not a bad thing.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
and yeah,
Yeah.
and I like his vocals more and more as I made it through this album. He shows some diversity, some range and stuff, and I like his style a lot. So
Mhm.
really enjoyed the vocals.
Excellent. Okay. Next track is Zero Containment, which I found. I'm glad that you said that, because we're not Dreadbull about when you hear other bands that you recognize
Mhm.
riffs, and it's not like we're saying this band is trying to imitate these other bands or be a cover band. It's just
Oh
we
yeah,
hear
no.
melodies and themes and sounds that we've heard before, and it triggers that sense memory of like, oh, it reminds me of this, which is a good thing.
Exactly.
um
Yeah,
and
these are all bands I love. So
yeah, like
you
Zero
know.
Containment reminds me of Carcass. That was, those kind of notes, that kind of aggressive sound, and something that you would have heard from Carcass, and I'm like, oh, okay, very much so. And so yeah, it's a great track. It's super heavy,
Yeah,
yeah.
it just
Yeah,
grabs you. It doesn't deviate a whole lot. It
Mhm.
just kind of chokes you unconscious. It
Yeah.
just gets a
Get
hold and
right.
doesn't let go.
Yeah, it gets you in a chokehold. It again, yeah, it
Mhm.
doesn't deviate. It's a very straightforward song, and so you
Yeah.
get in there, you just ride it. Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting to say that old Carcass kind of sense, because I even put in there old school death metal
Hmm.
feel right from the get go. The riff might have even come from, late 80s, early 90s death metal genre, which isn't bad, but especially that comparison to Carcass, that just reinforced that even more. So
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Dreadbull, why don't you start off the next one? Ghosts of
Yeah.
Humanity.
Nice change of pace. After the last song was a real ripper, just grab you by the throat. This one again, they're showing kind of diversity. Um, and here we go again. This song, for whatever reason, gives me some Megadeth vibes, like early Megadeth. That was the vibes I was getting from this song, which is great. I think I love the atmosphere of this song. I like the cleaner guitar sound that they incorporate. It's and the great transitions. It's all just really good, high quality thrash metal. Again, showing some good diversity. I like the um, the flow of the tracks on this album. As we go through the whole album, I really loved the layout of all the tracks and the flow of the tracks. You know me when we were younger. I did a lot of
Yeah,
compiling of music, and so
you were the
I can
compilation master.
and so yeah, I appreciate well laid out tracks on an album
Yeah.
that
Well,
have a nice flow to them. And this
if they
album
come
does
on,
that
we'll just
well.
have to ask them. I'll just say, hey
Yeah,
guys, you want to come on the show? We'd love to have you. We'll ask them
absolutely.
about the flow of the album.
Yeah, and if that was a conscious effort to
Mhm.
to get a certain flow going, I'd love to hear more about that if they did that.
Nice. Yeah. It's interesting that you mentioned Megadeth. That's the note I have. Like early Megadeth. It's
Okay.
like but there's the atmospheric portions of it
Yeah.
reminded me more of like like Metal Church, like from the
Mhm.
dark era. So my note was Megadeth and Metal Church have a death baby, because I hear those elements, that old school thrash, and then that atmospheric melodic, like hard rock, like Metal Church, that brand of metal. So again, two great bands that echoes of those bands here in this really interesting track.
Mhm.
Yeah, I have this actually start as one of my favorites off the album. I really like like Dreaded pointed out earlier, nice change of pace with the mellow intro into the verses with kind of slower tempo, really melodic. Um, Simple solo halfway through. Fits the song though, not taken away from her. And halfway, I love that tempo. Back to kind of traditional thrash tempo. And I can hear what you guys say now about old school thrash metal and Megadeth
Mhm.
influencing that. So yeah, this is one of my favorites on the album.
Hmm. Yeah. The following next track, As the World Crumbles, it's talking about departure.
Yeah.
This is definitely real doom, but
Doom.
it's stripped down. It's clean. It's like, very, it's almost very stripped down. Almost, there were times where I felt like it was like early Sabbath like melodies, that kind of doom, but without trying to be imitative of Sabbath at all. So I thought of all the tracks on this album, although other ones follow later on that are heavier, this one definitely had that doom vibe going all through it.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought the vocals were killer on this song. Love the vocals on here. It was a great guitar solo. Again, this track is perfectly placed on the album. I love right where they put it. I was ready for some doom, and so yeah, great track. One of my faves on this album, I think.
Yeah, one of my favorites as well. I like the slow, eerie intro and the guitar lines over the verses. It's the slowest song I think on the album, but it's definitely one of my favorites and everything you guys said about it. So yeah, that's a great track.
Nice. The following track is called Oblivion, and I'm gonna guess, did you either of you pick up a Slayer riff, a very familiar sounding Slayer riff in the main riff of the song?
I
I
was
did
trying.
not. I did not have it
It
in my
sounded,
notes. So,
yeah, something, but
Uh,
I couldn't put it.
Black Magic. Dun dun
oh
dun
wow,
dun dun
okay,
dun. It's Black Magic, like
Yeah,
Black Magic Nights. Yeah,
fuck yeah.
that's what I heard. I'm like, oh, okay, that's a very similar riff. Again, we're talking old school thrash,
Right.
with this one. That
very.
Slayer esque, like old Slayer esque. Back in the day. That's what this song. The main riff kind of reminded me of that immediately. So that was a nice hook to get into. Yeah.
Yeah, and after the
Well, I
previous
wrote
track ended, I'm like, oh, I hope they. I was ready for something heavy, some thrash to come back in. Like it's time to pick up the pace again, and they did it. I was like, cool. I'm loving the flow here, and just when you think it's going to be just a pure 3 minute intense pure intensity kind of one of those tracks. Yeah, they throw in a couple nice little time changes in there, some interesting stuff just to keep your interest and keep you going, and that's how I felt through this whole album. I never got bored. I like anytime you thought you might slip a little bit, like something cool happened, something really interesting happened. And this album kept my attention throughout. start to finish.
Yeah, I wrote straight ahead death slash thrash song. I like there's a kind of groove to it as well, with the chorus about halfway through. I caught in that, and I thought that was, you talk about changes, and I thought that was a nice little change to add
Yep.
into that mix. So
Yeah.
yeah, pretty cool.
All right. Well, Chop, do you want to start the next track, Deeper Wounds?
Sure, another one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I like this a swirling, almost shuffle-like riff it has in the song, and it's a nice change with the drums pattern before halfway through. There's a doomy tempo, and then chorus at the end. I really like, with just almost kind of like this with the solo outro, or solo to the outro, with kind of almost these like, not spoken word, but vocals are so, and it fits right with that, how it fades and everything. So yeah, it's one of my favorites on the album as well.
Yeah, I
you,
like
Dread?
the beginning section. I like I like how it was like this, the drums create this big sort of heavy basic beat, but then the guitars kind of going over the top, kind of giving it some energy and kind of carrying it along. I like the contrast there between the guitars and the slow beat underneath was really cool. And then yeah, that like first transition is some serious stank face. Like the stank face comes out, you know, you start
Nice.
really feeling it. I love that. And then more toward the end when you get to that really heavy sludgy section. All great stuff. Yeah, another I'm with you, Chop. One of my favorite tracks on this album.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a slow chugger. That's what I
Yeah.
put down, man. The super turned down riffs. You could really hear the depth of the guitars, because there's everything's kind of isolated in a way. It's separate. You can hear it like the old Rush albums. Like when you hear everything, you can hear everything cleanly, as sludgy as it is. But that last quarter of the song, when it gets into super sludge,
Yeah.
it's like there's your stank face. Like, oh, okay,
Oh,
okay, there
total
we go.
stank
Yeah,
face.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, really, a really sludgy, slow chugging track. Um, which is different than the next track, which is one of my favorites on the whole album, The Devil's Grasp. This is very kind of punk like. I get, this that tempo, that feel, that aggression of like rigor mortis on the song Speed Whore. That's kind of what I get. I get it. I can see how bands like Midnight, they're kind of similar in that kind of raw, just big, and Motorhead, get that Motorhead vibe. It's just,
Total Motorhead, man.
yes, it's just that's what I like about Midnight, is they remind me a lot about a Motorhead, just that Motorhead vibe. Night Demon, kind of the same way. But yeah, this is what I saw. This is what their Motorhead track. I'm like, okay, Devil's Grasp, it's a burner. Yeah, all good stuff.
I thought, like, I honestly was thinking, like, is this some obscure Motorhead song that I'm not aware of that they covered? Like, it almost felt like a Motorhead cover to me. Like, wow, this is so Motorhead, great track, man.
Hashtag let me approve.
Yeah, great guitar solo, great energy in this whole song. Yeah, awesome tune, man. I
Yeah,
love
the
it.
review of this track is all you boys, because this is unfortunately the only one I couldn't play from the file. So I just want to let
Oh
What?
no, you couldn't
So,
get it? Oh,
yeah.
bummer.
Oh, really? Well, that's too bad.
So,
This
yeah.
is a really good one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
great
I
song.
know. It was the only one I couldn't, for some reason, I could not, it wouldn't let me
I'll send
play
it to you again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with Motorhead sounding, I'm all in.
You might be able to look it up on YouTube,
That's
and
true.
just find
That's
it
true.
that way. Maybe not. I don't know. But if not, let me know. I'll send it to you again. So,
Okay. But
all right. And then Dreadbull, you have the next song is called No Salvation.
Yeah, this song, like, it so I thought that this was going to be kind of the first sort of I don't know, the song didn't grab me right off the bat. I thought maybe this can be the kind of the throwaway track on the album, but right in the middle, man, they kind of break it down and just grabs you by the balls, like, oh, okay, I'm sorry for even questioning that this was just going to be a phone it in track, because it was not, and it was another awesome song. Yeah, I loved it. I every time when I think there's going to be a letdown on this album, they do not.
Mhm.
They do something to keep you going, keep your
Yeah.
attention, grab it back. So kudos to them, man. Another cool song.
Yeah, it's got an old school vibe at first, the old school riffs, but then that slow melodic sludge toward the end. In a way, it was so slow and melodic. It reminded me of something that Nile would have done. You get those slower parts where they can kind of grind to almost a halt when they're playing guitar riffs over top this really slow drum beat. It was like, oh, it again, not imitative of Nile, but just reminiscent of that sound, that break between that, because I was kind of with you at first too, Dreadbull. Like, is this the throwaway track? But no, there's not a throwaway track on this album.
There is not.
No, it's a really great album.
Yeah, really, yeah, quality all the way through.
What about you, Chop? No Salvation.
Well, I had a traditional thrash riff to open and melody during chorus. More depth in vocals. Nice breakdown in the middle. Going back to what Dred said, I enjoyed that quite a bit as well. Again, this one reminded me of Amon Amarth. It was reminiscent during that section and the slowed down section, and then I like the increased tempo to the end of the song. So that's what I have for my notes on that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of him on a Marth, but you're right. Yeah, some of this was a little. Yeah, that's cool, man. I mean, every band has influences, so I don't think there's anything wrong with those bleeding into your music every once in a while. I think it's inevitable
because it's not a rip off of them, and it's
no. If they were a rip off, we'd say so.
Yeah, they're doing their own thing.
Yeah,
and every bit is just taking these great elements and sounds that it's impossible to not have that influence show. And then the final track, the title track, This Is Tomorrow. Dread, okay. I thought this track was for a finisher. It's dirgy and sludgy. We've gone back to this super sludge, and that dirge sound, and I like that as a finisher on this record.
Me too.
It is this ultimately kind of a doomy kind of. I mean, the cover of the album is great. I mean, they're song tracks. I mean, it's not like a happy album in that way. But it's an appropriate end for this record.
And it's kind of a slow fade at the end, so that was nice at the end of the album.
Right. Yeah. It works perfectly for the end. So I thought it was a great final track.
Totally agree.
Yeah, agreed. I like the melodic, slow doomy intro. It's this great chugging riff. Really old school death metal vocals on this one. I like the middle with the kind of church bell and then an eerie riff that comes in there as well. Like this evil disharmonic bending that's going on in the guitar strings. And to the end with the kind of spoken vocals throughout to the end, interspersed and whatnot till it fades out. So yeah, this was a hell of a closer, one of my favorites as well on it.
I probably had the stankiest of stank faces on this song. Great.
Really
I love that driving guitar riff, the doominess. Like, oh man. Yeah. Awesome song. I really love the dystopic theme of it, and some of those guitar riffs you were talking about, Chop, really fit that theme very well. So it's kind of discordant in a little bit and sort of the spoken word stuff. Great atmospheric track.
Yeah. It's an unexpected track. Because there's nothing like it on the rest of the album as far as the atmospheric and the voices and the again, it's just like, it's like they are like bringing all kinds of different song styles into this one record to kind of show their range, and that's exciting. I like that because okay, and it also prepares their audience to say like, look, if you like all these styles, hey, this is our first album. Let's get going. So I think it's awesome. Well. Hope you liked our review of Siege of Power. This is tomorrow. I want to thank Kelli Martin of Metal Blade Records for sending us this promo so that we could listen to it and review it. And thank you very much, Kelli.
Yeah, and it was a good one.
Yeah. Also good in an equally surprising way. From Nikki Law from Breaking the Law Productions, sent us Rotting Christ. I mean, I'm a fan of the name already.
Name.
I know. The Apocryphal Spells, Volume 1. Rotting Christ is a black metal band from Greece, and apparently this is a very typical black metal Greek black metal scene. It's very distinct in its stylings. When we think of black metal, we typically think of like Northern Europe, like Sweden, or those doom metal bands up north. But this is a really different kind of sound for black metal. Anyway,
I'd read that they are considered the very first Greek black metal band
from
that area. So That's got to be rough to
was
break
not.
in to be the first.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you got Carvin, but and I don't know much about the band. I'm curious. I want to go back and listen to their albums and try to find them and see what their style is like over time, or if this is pretty consistent with what they've done. Because there was some things that really surprised me as my general overview. The singer's voice, for one. Just really surprised me. I was expecting more of the black metal doomy or screamy, but some of the music, the sound reminded me a little bit of like Typo Negative meets Ramstein. There
That's
was
a perfect
More on
description.
that later. More on that later.
There's my overview.
Perfect description. Yeah.
Yeah. Um. So there.
So, well, my overview on this was I said think vocals by Till Lindemann in English from
Yeah.
Rammstein.
There you go.
And with some screaming vocals, you can kind of understand because I'll put it out there. I'm not a really huge black metal fan. I appreciate what it does for the genre. I appreciate the fans that like it and stuff. It's just not my cup of tea usually. I don't go to that, but because I think it is the vocals that turn me off and the constant blast beat drumming of a lot of those bands. And it's just like, I just can't get past it. But with that said, I'm listening. It's like, this is so different from any other black metal that I've ever heard in my life. And I think it's because the vocalist does a lot with that. Plus, it wasn't all this; it was screaming at times, but you could understand. So that kind of that showed me a lot of difference there within that genre.
What about you, Dread?
Yeah, I went in. First of all, writing Christ, I'm like, okay, this is going to be brutal. Like this is going to be heavy, brutal. And then the first song, I'm like, oh, this is not what I expected.
Mhm.
The title, the name of the band says one thing, but this music is not what I expected. And honestly, by the time I finished it, I'm like, I'm not exactly sure what I listened to. It's called black metal,
I'm
but
the same way.
was
Right.
this black metal? Like, I'm not sure what the hell I
it's
just
not
heard.
it's not Venom, it's not it's not
No.
Merciful Fate, it's not any of these, it's not Carriage, it's it's right, it's its own unique,
I'm not even
interesting
sure how to
style.
describe them or even categorize them.
Yeah, at times it wasn't, it's not
sort of
metal.
defy all those
Yeah,
labels.
just like Siege of Power kind of defies some things in a way, or Voivod rather. Our last week's interview with Michelle from Voivod. Yeah, there's a band that kind of transcends genre, and I look at Rotting Christ as kind of being the same in some ways. Like, okay, I wasn't expecting this.
Exactly.
Which is cool.
They're unique, so I don't know how you could have expected it.
Right. Well,
unique sound.
this is an EP. Part one, it's an EP. They're only six tracks.
Five tracks.
Oh, 5 tracks. Right.
5 tracks.
Astral Embodiment
on each part,
which is like the technical black metal. I think it has the beginning. What I love so much about that beginning, it was this almost like this interesting whine sound that came in, and I'm like, what is that? But it really added something really interesting to this track. It was like technical death metal meets Ramstein with this great melodic solo. And I thought, man, this is really not what I expected. And then the Typo Negative Ramstein vocals coming in, like really
I
low.
hadn't made that connection, but you're totally right.
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting.
Yeah, I have for my notes on that one. I like the nice double bass opening, main riff, melodic riff with some pinch harmonics sprinkled in. There's a nice bridge change, almost Rammstein-esque, spoken like vocals. I didn't mind the screaming vocals in the chorus. There was an overuse of keys, which I thought was real nice too, because sometimes some black metal bands can saturate it with too much overuse of keyboards. Solo, nothing flashy, but it fits the song. So yeah, this was a surprise as for first opener. I was just like, oh, this is nothing what I expected. So here's my take.
Yeah, same. Ramstein was in my notes too. Like that's you can't help but be like, oh, okay, there's Ramstein. That very deep guttural sort of vocals had that vibe. I like the bass groove on this track a lot. Again, and I think I messed up with this. This was the band that I thought the drums could have really, this style of music could have used a much bigger drum sound, like a bigger, heavier, punchier drum sound. I thought yeah, we won't go back to Siege of Power, but yeah, this is the band. I kind of mixed my notes up there, but the drums just felt a little too much in the background on this particular album. I thought this called for
Kind
a
of like
bigger,
industrial,
like more of an industrial. Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, a little buried,
Yeah.
a little muted.
Yeah, they were just a little small in the background.
Yeah.
Other
Yeah.
than the bass drum, the kick sounded okay, but
Yeah.
but
And
yeah,
that
it's a
bass
good
was
opener.
really prevalent. Right? You could hear the
Yeah.
bass very
Mhm.
clearly.
Yeah. But yeah, nice groove track, solid opener.
Mhm.
Surprise, a real surprise.
All right, track 2. We've got Moonlight. Dread, since you were there, you want to just start us off with some Moonlight?
Yeah, again, my notes were like, for a band called Rotting Christ, my expectation was some brutal death metal, but instead I get this like, the only like this track, I'm like, is this like smooth?
Smooth
Like
black metal.
smooth black metal, like it was
the
really
smooth jazz
smooth.
of black metal.
Welcome to
Yeah.
Smooth Black Metal. I'm your
Smooth
host.
black.
Welcome to Rotting
It's
Christ.
like a good coffee,
like Kenny
smooth,
G.
black and smooth.
We should
you
call
know?
the Satanic Tico. Hey, how about Rotting Christ? Is that a good name for your smoothest coffee?
I mean, the guitars on this track have a real smooth, soft tone
Mhm.
to them. It's really easy on the ears. I mean,
Right.
honestly, this track reminded me of Ghost, of the band Ghost, a lot.
I was
Oh,
gonna say
okay.
that too.
Oh,
That's in
were
my
you
notes.
you had that?
Yeah, there you go.
I
Yeah.
heard it too, man. I heard
Well,
it too.
now you got to wonder
mean,
where Ghost got.
interesting and another surprising.
Ghost was influenced by these guys. These guys have been around
Maybe.
for a long time.
Maybe. So
Maybe.
yeah, go ahead.
Good job.
Go ahead, Chop.
Well, I was gonna say, you just spilled the bean. Hard rock, almost ghost-like riff throughout. Interesting mix of the choral vocals over the chorus in the outro. I thought that was kind of interesting in there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And kind of almost a goth metal song. There's a feel with a feel, atmosphere, and melody of it all. So yeah, this was another surprise. I'm expecting, oh, this is going back into maybe brutality and something. Oh no, this was another thing. It was like, this is totally different, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that main riff is like old school, simple, and that's what I liked about it. Okay. And then the chorus becomes really atmospheric. Again, you get the death vocals with the genre breaking chord progressions. Those chord progressions were just interesting and like almost like a disharmony. Like, oh, I wasn't expecting that riff to go here. And then those time changes and the slowdown after the solo with the melodic leads. I mean, there's so much to this song that's unexpected. I guess because we all saw the name and we're thinking, it's like going to be like
that kind of
Cannibal
puts
Corpse,
that
like
sets an expectation right away, right?
right. And that's what we're expecting. We're like, we're not getting that at all, and that's kind of exciting. So it makes me want to hear more from this band. But yeah, Moonlight's just a really great track. Okay, track 3 is the last original track on this album, and it's called Phobia. The impression I got from listening to this, I love it's kind of upbeat. It's a little discordant. It's almost I got a Marilyn Manson vibe from this a little bit. The the way the instrumentation has been done and the vocal soundings on this one too. Just yeah, I thought it was an upbeat, discordant song. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, it's a little heavier kind of song here. I liked the buildup of tension at the beginning, and I kind of like how they maintained it throughout the song. I wish I had the lyrics. I couldn't really understand the lyrics to this song, so I'd love to know what they were saying here. But yeah, my only complaint was I thought the drums were just a little pretty basic. I thought there was room in this song to do some interesting little fills without going over the top or distracting from the rest of the song. But maybe that's just the progressive metal fan in me. But I thought there was some room there to do something with the drums to add some interest in this song. But it was pretty much, stayed pretty basic throughout.
Yeah, I have my notes. I like the guitar bending intro to this ascending riff, which continues throughout the verses. Let me see. Annoying. It was maybe to me it was an annoying song to me. It's because with the repetitive bending riff, it was like a little too much overkill for me throughout the song. But I like the use of more subtle death metal growls in parts. And maybe this was for me the least underwhelming track on EP for me. But I appreciate what they did, and they tried some different things as well. And again, we talked all first 3 of these songs; they're different in each their own rights, and we're obviously seeing a lot of it's. So that's what makes it really makes it cool that they're trying to do that.
and beyond the expectations of what we had going into it. So I think that that makes it exciting. I kept like, and the more I listened to it, especially the Moonlight track, the more I liked it. I kept on going back to like, wow, this
I
these
feel
guitars weren't as distorted as I wanted. They're really, like you said, smooth, I believe is the word you used there, Dreadbull. It's the
they're
smooth
pretty
jazz of
smooth.
black metal. Yeah, it was like, oh, this is really kind of catchy, and it's just a really good sounding album.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I felt like this is a band that this is requires multiple listens because it is so different and unexpected. Like I need to listen to this a few more times to really to start parsing it out, and kind of figuring out exactly where this fits and so yeah, early on it's like it catches you off guard for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And the last two tracks are Creator covers. Creator, excellent band. Well, Tormentor. Come on, this is like Creator on. I mean, at the brutal best. It's old school thrash punk. And these guys, if you wanted to hear Rotting Christ really like rip it out, and wondering, hey, are
They
these
can do
guys
it.
gonna? They can do it.
Right.
They can do it, which
Yeah.
makes me think. I'm wondering now, are they a band like Opeth that over years has evolved in their sound? So if we go back to their first earlier albums, are they more like the Creator, or are they more like the typical European black metal? So if anything, this album has just piqued my interest more.
Yeah.
It just made me want to I want to go back and listen to more Rotting Christ.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only time I need more Jesus in my life.
Yeah.
Yes.
I had actually listened to volume 2, so I actually know what's
Oh.
coming in the next one, and it's better. It's even better. Like, so we'll have to cover that at some other point. I thought we were doing the whole.
Well, we only got volume
whole
1. I didn't want to,
spiel, so
yeah.
right. But then, no, that's fine. So yeah, we're in for some good stuff because I like the second one even better.
Where'd you find the second one?
I actually just looked them up on YouTube. I forgot to download it onto my iPad, so I listened to them when I was at work. So I just looked on YouTube, and they had volumes 1 and 2 all posted up there through. Was this Metal Blade? Are these guys Metal Blade? But either way, it was all posted up through the label, and yeah, I just listened to the whole thing.
Rotting Christ is I don't know, a Century Media, maybe?
Century? Okay.
I think
Could be.
Yeah. I have for my notes on Tormentor, obviously it's a great Creator song. On these last two tracks, now I'm going to talk about the drums. I didn't care.
I'm sorry.
I didn't care about the snare sound, the snare snap sound on these two tracks. That's my only gripe. Other than, I think they changed production on these last two covers, raw and sound, maybe intentionally to make it sound like the original. Because when Creator came out, I mean, those albums are raw, and I got a few of their older ones, the real old stuff, and but it's cool to see a band covering Creator though, because you don't really hear that many times. The bands are taking on, covers of they'll cover Sabbath and Maiden and Priest, but you don't hear them take on Creator. My number one German thrash band of all time. I think they're just fantastic. And Tormentor, yeah, they tear it up.
Creator, if you're out there, come on the show, man. We'd love to have you.
Love to have you on, Miller. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I don't know if they must have recorded this somewhere else. Like it sounded much more raw.
It did. It was a completely different sounding album. I think it had to be.
Yeah.
It had to be for doing covers.
Yeah.
It had, or else the mixing was done completely different amplifiers, different guitar. I mean, something, because they definitely sound like.
These were actually. Oh, I'm sorry. These were actually these Apocryphal Spells 1 and 2 were actually sort of surprise releases. I think toward the end of last year when they released them, and these are actually everything is like either rare live stuff or it's like tracks that were just like rare releases on physical products and then they went ahead and put these all onto digital and just released them like this.
So I wonder if that's why they're so different and interesting, because it's a one-off. We're not, we don't want to,
maybe a B-side and stuff like that.
Yeah, right. Oh, that could be interesting. But either way, I like the band. I'm really curious.
So I didn't get the impression that these were live. It didn't sound live to me.
No, I didn't.
The
Nothing that
creator
sounded
covers.
live. No.
just
But it was definitely a
sound.
different
It was like-
mix. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Same thing with Flag of Hate and Pleasure to Kill. That's the other
Mhm.
creator cover. It's again, we've got mid 80s thrash, early mid 80s thrash, Slayer. That kind of early Slayer. I mean, that's what creator is coming from. That
Yeah.
early thrash sound is really prevalent in this song. And
Mhm.
Rotting Christ does a great cover of it. It's really great.
Great covers. I really enjoyed these. Those
Mhm.
were
I mean,
awesome covers.
really true to the original, and that's in this case it works very well because it's old creator and man, they're a lot rawer back then and they definitely capture that the musicianship on both those.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm with you. I mean, there's obviously an influence, but we didn't hear that influence in these first 3 songs on this album. So yeah, maybe their older stuff was there's some more of that the more of the heavy thrash stuff.
Yeah.
But
That
very
makes me-
interesting.
Yeah, makes you want to go
It's a-
back and listen to some creator too, because I know very little of that. That's another band that I'm woefully unversed in.
Yeah.
So I've got to go listen to some more creator. But
Hear that, kids? We're gonna do a creator top 5 deep dive someday. So
we got to
you're gonna-
finish Rush. Yeah, we got to finish our Rush deep
Yeah, we
dive,
gotta
and then we
finish
got
Rush.
a few other ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, want to thank Nikki Law, Breaking the Law Productions, for
you.
sending us Rotting Christ EP. I really appreciate being on the mailing list, Nikki. And for all you kids out there listening, Nikki Law will be coming on Heavy Metal Horror very soon. She's got a lot to talk about, and we're big fans. We appreciate everything that Nikki from Breaking the Law Productions and also Kelli Martin from Metal Blade. We want to thank you for sending us so many great promos. Really appreciate it. We're going to start doing live reviews, and
Yeah, we'll be working our way through these this year.
yeah,
That's our
we
task
got
ahead of us.
tons of new music. Keep it coming. And if you're a band, we've had 2 bands reach out to us to review their records. If you're a band and you want us to review your record, or song or whatever you got, or if you want to come on Heavy Metal Horror, hey, we're here, man. We're all right. Any more to say about Rotting Christ or Siege of Power?
No, I think I covered my notes.
Yeah, me too.
I enjoyed these little jaunts into
There
some new
were
stuff.
some surprises with both bands. I was surprised, really.
Yeah, same here. Pleasantly
Yeah,
surprised.
Siege of Power, I'm gonna look more into that. Really thoroughly enjoyed that album, start to
I
finish.
think for me, I really like Siege of Power when they get more into doomy, the slow down stuff.
Yeah.
For me, that more atmospheric, eerie, moody, whatever you want to call it. So I really appreciate those songs towards the end of the album more. Although, like I said, they got their burners too, so they're capable of doing everything. So.
And I'm with you, Montag. Rotting Christ is just intriguing. Like this little sampler really intrigued me. Like, what the hell was going?
Yeah.
Got to find some more.
You're hearing crying out loud. You're hearing Rammstein. You're hearing the Ghost in there. You're hearing, and you're not expecting that.
No, not at
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
I'm expecting Cannibal Corpse. That's the kind of stuff. I mean, I'm
I was expecting
brutal,
death,
relentless,
screaming.
brutal. That's what I was expecting. And I'm kind of, not that I don't like that stuff, but I'm kind of glad that it was so different because now, we got new music to listen to. So thanks again, Kelli Martin, Nikki Law. Appreciate it very much. So I think we got it till next time. So just to remind everyone out there, season 2, now we're doing episodes every other week. We're not doing weekly episodes, but that's okay. We're still coming at you, bringing all the best entertainment. This is why you pay your big bucks. Oh, they're not paying anything, right? We got to do a Patreon. That's right.
Yeah.
That's
We're
right.
gonna milk our 140 subscribers now.
Yeah, let's
Send
get
us
150. Then we'll talk about
deserve
our
it.
$5
Free
a month
nickels.
plans, people.
Get you access to all of us. Hey, you can
All
find
bonus content you can't hear or see anywhere else.
That's right. All the episodes where the guest didn't show up, and I'm like, what the fuck? Where's he at? That would be pretty funny though. Our Patreon gold wall. You can find Heavy Metal Horror on unsaneradio.com. Listen to full episodes or download to your device. You can find us on Facebook, Heavy Metal Horror Podcast. On Instagram, look for Montag Lewis, one word. Our YouTube page, Heavy Metal Horror Podcast. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. And we're now on Roku, Hotel Metal Jam. And don't forget our parent company, Unsane Radio. We're always on Unsane Radio. as I mentioned earlier. If you know someone who'd like our show, tell them about us. This has been Montag, Mass Revolution.
And Chop Top.
Your friendly neighborhood Dreadbull.
There we go, Spider-Man.
There we needed
you
it.
go.
We got it right there.
There you go.
And you've been watching and listening to Heavy Metal.
This is Doug Helvering, and you have been listening to Heavy Metal Horror, the best podcast that you've never heard before.